Hey, Bayek, it's me, and in today's video we continue with our Hammer films, and today it is Rasputin the Mad Monk, yes, from 1966. This is an absolutely fascinating film, and it's one which I think, I have to say this, Christopher Lee dominates this film in his performance. It is so outstanding. He defines the film. I really believe that. I mean, it's he actually believed it was one of his finest performances, and wow, it is. So let's talk about this film then. It's 91 minutes long, the normal sort of what we expect from Hammer. Rotten Tomatoes, as usual, is 43%, which is quite low, but there's the usual thing. But what do you expect? Because now we wouldn't get that. Not the critics recognise this film. The value, how much it is an important part of Hammer film history. And yes, it filmed at Bray Studios, this was, and it was back to back with Dracula, the Prince of Darkness, which was also released in 1966. And this became a double bill with The Reptile. Yeah, 1966 Reptile. So what a bill that was. Fantastic. Both great films. It was written by Anthony Hines again, produced by Anthony Nelson Keyes, and then the director, of course, was Don Sharp. Don Sharp, this Australian director, he did 3 Hammer films. He did Kiss of the Vampire, 1963. He did this one, of course. And also, he did Devil Ship Pirates, 1964, with Christopher Lee in. Fantastic. But he's also worked with Christopher Lee in the Fu Manchu movies. He did Face of Fu Manchu, 1965, Brides of Fu Manchu, 1966. And from our viewpoint, again, he worked with Christopher Lee in the absolutely brilliant film Dark Places from 1973. That film I've reviewed and talked about and really love. Robert Hardy and Joan Collins with Christopher Lee. Great film. So that is the director, and he brings such a lot to this film. It's fantastic. Don Sharp. So the cast we'll look at. The cast, say Christopher Lee playing the lead, dominated it as Rasputin. Then the leading lady is Barbara Shelley. She plays Sonia. Sonia, I think, is quite a tragic figure in this, really. It's really quite sad, but she's superb in it, absolutely superb. We've seen Barbara Shelley in Shadow of the Cat, 1961, and The Gorgon, of course, which is a superb film, The Gorgon. What can I say about The Gorgon? I absolutely love The Gorgon. Dracula, Prince of Darkness, she was in that, 1966. Of course, these were being filmed back to back. You see that pattern there? Of course, she was also in the Quatermass and the Pit films. Fantastic. I mean, she's a great actress, Barbara Shelley. I really like her. And she adds such a lot in this. You really feel for her character, though. And then we have Richard Pascoe as Dr. Boris Zago. He's quite a crucial part of this film. He was in The Gorgon, 1964. The Gorgon, yes, popping up again. Then we have got Francis Matthews again. Now, yes. Now, his character is called Ivan. Now, for legal reasons, they were originally going to have the actual killer of Rasputin, Yusupov. I think that's how you pronounce it, Yusupov. He was still alive at the time, so they decided to change the character and call it Ivan. Anyhow, Francis Matthews, Revenge of Frankenstein, 1958. And of course, Dracula, Prince of Darkness, 1966, filmed at the same time as well. Legendary voice of Captain Scarlet. What can I say? Absolutely love Captain Scarlet. The Jerry Anderson. Oh, man. Yeah, it's great. Captain Scarlet. Anyhow, I'm going off again. Then we've got Susan Farmer playing Vanessa. She was in The Devil Ship Pirates, so she'd worked with Christopher Lee and the director, 1964. And of course, she also was in Dracula, Prince of Darkness. You're getting a pattern here. That's why they were filmed together. Then we've got an actor who's very well respected, was Dinsdale Landon playing Peter. Looking at his from films that I'm particularly interested in, he was in Young Winston, 1972, which is a great early biography of Winston Churchill. Great film. Simon Ward played Young Winston in that, but he's in that one. And of course, we had to have a Doctor Who link. Yes, he is in a later Doctor Who story. In fact, he's in Sylvester McCoy's final season in one of Sylvester McCoy's great stories. This is in season 26. He is in The Curse of Fenric. Yes, what a story that is. That's from 1989. Yes, wow. So I love that. Absolutely love it. So, what is this story about? Well, it's pretty obvious what it's about. It's about, it's very loosely based on the life of Rasputin. Now, I say loosely based, and this is one good thing about Hammer. They just adapt these stories to their way of filming, their way of storytelling, and that works well. Could you imagine that? You know, how some people today would react to that. You know, they don't like adaptations. It's film. It's creating art in another way, a fictionalized story based upon a real character. No wrong with that at all. And it works well. Hammer are good, especially when you've got a quality actor. It's just made for Christopher Lee, just showing his abilities, his presence, everything about it. So, the Rasputin was a very interesting character historically. He was a peasant, mystic monk who managed to gain influence in the court of the Tsars of Russia. Now, this part of the story isn't really brought out in this film, but it's suggested. We see a little bit. But their son, the future Tsar, was a haemophiliac. He was a very sick child, and Rasputin was important in trying to heal him, because haemophiliac at that time, it was so important that they kept him safe, because it's a very dangerous thing. It was. But the whole story, now, as we know, is played out with the background of the Russian Revolution. Always there, how out of touch the Tsars became from the people, and the story as it goes. But this plays a difference. It has a different angle, maybe to that, but we still get the boy in there, and it's done really well. How he manages to get the influence through the tragic figure, I think, of Sonia, who she's a lady in waiting. This is Barbara Shelley part, and she's beautiful in this. I think she looks beautiful as well. What a beautiful actress she was. And she is basically hypnotized by Rasputin to get in to suggest to the Tsar that he would be a great help, and the Tsarina, sorry, and he does that. He through Sonia, but of course he discards her. He just uses her, and this is the part of how fascinating as a evil character he is. I think the great thing about Christopher Lee is that his eyes are so penetrating. This tall figure, and his eyes, this hypnotic. He's so believable. And there he is. He's a womanizer. He's a drunkard. He just gets what he wants and ends up getting into St. Petersburg and, well, getting all the riches from what he's done, his powers, as we see these powers that he has. And it's a fascinating study in evil, corruption, and how somebody like him could manage to get in to such a powerful position. He was in a powerful position, yes. And of course, that, as we know historically as well, upset a lot of people, and they plotted against him because they didn't want this a peasant, having so much influence. And of course, it led to his downfall. They, in the end, murdered him. And this was led by Felix Yusupov, who I mentioned earlier. Francis Matthews, his character Ivan, represented that. Now, in the film also we get the fact that Dr. Boris Zago is in many ways one of the major instigators. They kind of change that. And his role is very good. How we first meet him and how he gets involved with Rasputin, and Rasputin uses him, and then he's kind of getting his revenge back on Rasputin. Fascinating dynamics. But as I say, the film is really dominated by Christopher Lee. This is one of his great performances. You can't help but admire it. This film is violent as well. For 1966, this is a violent film. Quite a bit of gore. It's there. You can see it there. Obviously, censorship is still a part of this, but it's very much there. You can see it. Also, the sexual side. There's no getting over it, but it's quite blatantly sexual. We see that the way he uses women as well. He just discards them. And as I say, you can't help but feel sorry for Sonia, how he really takes over and controls her. I find that very sad, but it's played so well by Barbara Shelley. You feel that tragedy and how she's fallen into this evil, which is represented in Rasputin. Just a few little trivia things, which I found absolutely fascinating. As a child, Christopher Lee in the 1920s actually met Yes, Rasputin's killer, Felix Yusupov, he actually met this killer in the historical. Amazing, isn't it? The real historical character. And then in later life, he met Rasputin's daughter, Maria. I love that. I love the Christopher Lee was such an interesting man as well as an actor. So many facets about Christopher Lee, but I just find that fascinating. So that is my look at this film, because I just absolutely love this film. I can't help but love this film. It's just so powerful. It's a powerful film, and all really because of Christopher Lee, and great direction as well. And the script works well. It knows what its limitations are, as I say, with the location and sets which were used as well in The Prince of Darkness. So it works really well. You can't argue with that. Just a quick look. This came out, the Blu-ray, in 2012. And here we have it. The slipcover. There we are. We've got, of course, this is surprisingly got quite a few special features that are really good, documentaries, and it's even got an episode from the Hammer World series narrated by Oliver Reed. So there we got the Blu-ray, it's pretty plain, and then we got the DVD there. And we get about Rasputin as well, the historical background to it. Very good extras, I would say, on this. Some of the best from this series, and it really adds to the enjoyment. So there it is. Hope you've enjoyed my review of this film. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you still haven't subscribed, please subscribe, because then we let you know when I produce these videos. Also, if you like it, please give it a like. It costs note, and it helps with algorithms, and hopefully more people might get to enjoy or not enjoy these videos. And if you've got any comments, please put those comments down. I'd love to hear from you. Fantastic. I answer everyone that I see. Okay. Well, that's it. All I've got to say is, I'll see thee, and I'll see thee again.